For week 11 in my final major project, I was finishing off the last steps of the mastering process. So this was controlling the spread of the master, which is basically where you can control the width that the song reaches in the stereo field, which can kind of add a bit more space and create a larger sound to the song. So on the mastering assistant, there was a little dial for spread where you could kind of control the width, and you can either take it away or add it in and make it a fuller sound. There was also a correlation level meter at the side, which kind of shows you how the width is helping or not helping your mix. So correlation basically shows you the phasing coherency, so whether the phasing is off on one side or if it works. And in the video I found out that you kind of want it to stay in the green area, because if it goes to the red, that shows that there's a problem with the phasing. For my song, I had to turn the width down slightly to roughly minus 0.25, just because that was what was keeping me in the green zone, and anything higher was pushing me towards the yellow. After that was finished, I was happy that the mastering process was complete, and the final steps were just to go over the song, re-listen to it over and over, and kind of pinpoint any issues that I wanted to fix last minute. So after going back, I kind of found that the vocals were slightly too loud, especially in the intro, so I turned them down, because originally I did boost them with automation just so they would stand out a bit more with the other instruments being so intense, but I found that it just stood out a bit too much and kind of didn't mix well with the rest. I also then increased the volume of the strings in the bridge just so they would stand out a bit more, and towards the end of the song where they play a different melody line, I wanted to increase it there as well. I then finally decreased the volume of the drums in the intro, because at that point all the cymbals were playing like constantly, and it was so loud that it really took over everything else and muted the rest of the instruments. But with all that done, I was happy that I had the final product. Throughout this project, I feel like I've learned quite a lot to do with the mixing and mastering process. Obviously, in the first few weeks, I was focused on creating MIDI instruments and recording, which I already knew quite a bit about, so I'm happy that I spent the majority of the project doing the mixing and mastering. I learned a lot of new things, like even though I did know the different processes of the mix, I didn't really know how to use them independently, and especially when it comes to the individual controls within the processes. For example, when it came to compression, I didn't know what the dials did, and now that I have that knowledge, I know that's going to help me in future projects. Same with the mastering, I pretty much had no idea what went into mastering, and I feel like even with the mastering assistant, it really helped to show what makes a good master and what goes into it. I also feel like I've just learned a lot in terms of how to bring a song together, because instead of just mixing a track, I decided to do the whole process of recording and creating the MIDI, then mixing, then mastering. So I kind of went through the whole setup, which I think is really going to help when in the future I want to work in a studio as a studio engineer. So overall, I'm really happy with my project and the overall outcome.